Okay, so writing award-winning chapter reports, I do think, and this is just me, the template that they send for the chapter reports is kind of off with what we're looking for. So it's difficult at times because we're looking for certain information and the prompts aren't quite right when you're writing the chapter report. So we don't really get that information. So I'm just going to tell you what information we are looking for. That way you can have an award-winning chapter report. So first things first, in general, what we want to know is just how are you doing? This is our first idea of what the health of physics departments, physics students, are we all on campus? Are we not? Are we using Discord? Are we using Slack? Are we, I don't know, pick something, right? What's going on? Did you have to deal with a building that got shut down because it's being remodeled? I don't know. Do you not have any money? How are you overcoming these challenges? Just an overall large picture. We're not judging. You don't have to fluff it up. Tell us what's going on. Because if it's common across the board, all 30 chapter reports that are submitting that say, hey, we have no money, we've tried doing fundraising, but we're just not getting enough, right? Well, then we're going to read that. We're going to see that theme, and then we're able to prioritize our resources. Well, maybe we're going to take away some of the scholarship budget and put it towards something like this for activities, right? But that won't happen unless we get that information and identify that theme and get that feedback. So we also like to see the meeting schedule, because then I can come back to you and show you other school schedules and say, hey, so-and-so did the physics Jeopardy. Actually, there's a school that did that and they put it in their chapter report. And it's great because they used our resources, didn't have to make it all. We're not trying to get you to put a bajillion hours of thought into the activities that you're providing. We have a lot of resources. We just have to get out into the community and use them. So that's what we're looking for the first bit. Next, this is Ohio. We want to see what are your chapter interactions with the national and regional programs. So have any of your students applied for an internship? Have any of your students submitted a paper to the JERP, the Journal for Undergraduate Research? There's a P. I don't know what it stands for, but JURP is what it's called. It's a magazine of that does the publishings of the papers. I'm a mechanical engineer, so forgive me, but there's a thing that you do the research and you turn in the stuff, and you can put it in there. It's involvement. It's involvement in the community, but it's also involvement with SPS. Physics.
Journal of Undergraduate Research in Physics.
That is so good. Okay. Physics. Journal of Undergraduate Research in Physics.
I believe that's what it's got.
Thank you. Much appreciated. But PhysCon, did you have anybody just go there and show their posters? There were a lot of people with posters at PhysCon. Everybody could walk around. There were judges and there were wizard hats, and it was a good time. But getting students out there for those networking experiences, to see what other research is being done, to see what opportunities there are. There were some career opportunities booths there. So that sort of thing. Elections, like somebody from Zone 7 got elected, or somebody from your school got elected, or somebody from your school, and we can just kind of keep each other informed on that. Did you receive any awards? I know Kettering, we have our Outstanding Physics Awards. It's more of an internal to the school, but that's okay, because we're showing that we're showcasing that people have demonstrated both Sigma Pi Sigma, attributes, but then also SPS. Great job. You're doing great, on the right track. Keep it up. Okay, so national regional programs, SPS specifically. Then we're also looking for campus community. This is, how are you reaching out? Are you just mailing letters to each other, or are you communicating actively via Discord? Some schools, they send emails, which is fine, and some schools prefer it that way. But what is your engagement? There are flyers. We have the TV. We put advertisements out on the TVs across campus so that we can say, hey, come to that event. Maybe there's people that paint a rock. I know schools do that, really, it doesn't have to be anything super significant. I mean, well, significant maybe is a poor term, but it doesn't have to be extravagant. What we want is to see that there's effort there and that it's working. It's okay if you write 3 sentences saying that you've done a weekly session with 20 students to just sit in a corner of a room and study together, right? That's fine. It's involvement. It's great involvement because it helps. Everything helps. So don't feel like anything is too small is what I'm trying to emphasize here. So next, we have social media. Some have Instagram accounts, some have Twitters. I'm trying to add those to my database because right now we don't really have a good record of that. But that way, just in case we're not getting email responses, maybe we're seeing that, hey, you had a nitrogen ice cream day and there's a video about it. That's awesome. Recruitment events. So are you doing pumpkin launching? Are you launching rockets? Really anything with the campus. And then field trips. Did you go to Belle Isle for an astronomy event? Those are all perfect examples of, well, that's not just the campus community, but in addition to the campus community. So next is the professional physics community. How are you interacting professionally? Are we making sure that our students are prepared to embark on their next step of their academic journey, whether it's furthering research at a national lab, maybe it's more of a private job, or maybe they're continuing in academia. What are we doing? So it could just be going on the website for speakers and recruiting speakers, having them either virtual or in person. It could be going to a conference of some sort, going to a different conference, watching some research reviews. And yes, if you have any questions, let me know. Okay. Next is the off-campus public community. This is where the Belle Isle thing really perfect. So this is volunteering, going to an elementary school and tutoring. I know the Society of Automotive Engineers, SAE, they have a program called A World in Motion. And what they do is they have these activities that they run for each grade level of elementary, middle, and I think it goes up to high school. So by the time that student graduates from their community school, they've had plenty of exposure to STEM related concepts, and it has a huge impact, particularly in underserved areas. So what I'm trying to get at is you can take the sock kit, you can take small, really affordable activities. I went to a Boys and Girls Club of America, and we had cardboard boxes that we asked them to collect. And I bought 2 cantaloupes and a box of paper cups and a few other things. And what we did was we asked the students to make a hill, and we displayed gravity. And whoever could get their melon to roll the farthest across the gym won candy. Like, it's not. But they had a great time, and they were able to learn that, hey, maybe you shouldn't put a random bump in the hill because it's friction and resistance to let the ball to continue to roll. You have to have it to be smooth. You can't, have it be like a stair, like steps. So you have to take the box apart, and they really have to get engaged and use their brain in that way. So there's a lot of basic principles that we kind of take for granted now, I think, but establishing those in younger minds is incredibly beneficial. So, like with the wheel and everything else. So here, there was some activity being performed, it looks like with younger students, and possibly audio based with the sound, because they have the different tubes, the different holes, the different notes. So, yeah. Yes. Also, if there are any events going on, like if you have a club expo type of a deal, where the school has an opportunity for all the clubs and organizations to showcase what's out there and who's out there, stuff like that as well. Or maybe you go to a library and hand out little goodie bags with activities to all the kids that show up, just to kind of put yourself out there. We have a local children's museum in Flint, and from time to time we would volunteer there, or at least I would on behalf of organizations. So there's definitely a lot of areas that are looking for more people. So, yes,
Over the winter, volunteered at a first robotics competition. High school.
beautiful. Yes,
And I just want to add that, like, there are tons of high schools in literally everywhere that have robotics teams that you could engage with to get involved in that.
people, yeah, robotics teams always need mentors. And it would be really cool, actually, to be a physics student and mentor a team like that, because you'd bring a whole different twist
Oh, yeah.
that I don't have. But no, that'd be really cool, because you could teach them how to design an experiment, right? It's not just about CAD, maybe you want to test to see if it works reliably or whatever it is. I don't know. I love that. That's fantastic.
Also, kind of going off of that as
Yeah.
well, like for me, I work at the Wayne State Planetarium.
Mhm.
And I get planetarium shows. We do a lot of physics demos for schools. We bring the schools in. Of course, the schools pay for it because they're paying the planetarium. But we're still doing a lot of that outreach to do those activities. And I just completely lost my train of thought there.
It counts.
But just getting out there and showing to them, hey, we have these groups.
Mhm.
Oh, the thing I was trying to get is, like, for example, with Belle Isle, we're trying to get out there and do all these events on Belle Isle to convince them that they can become an urban dark sky park.
Mhm.
Okay. So for the astronomy side of things, I feel that there's still a lot of outreach, even in big cities, where you can try and show people the sky and physics in general in terms of astronomy, even in big cities, and get that community engagement out there.
Sure. I mean, you could think about it this way. Maybe you pass out flyers. Like I know
Mhm.
that night you were passing out the flyers for
Yeah.
what does the night sky look like tonight,
Yes.
right? Well, maybe you just put flyers on the wall that say, what does it look like tonight? And people can look at it and be like, oh, they'll take it with them and they look up and see the stars. But I completely agree. And I think Flint, the sky is incredibly clear at night when there's no clouds. It shocks me every time. But yeah, and Belle Isle also.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can get them to not have so many bright lights on, yes.
Right, but I know Port Austin is the closest dark sky park, at least that I'm familiar with, to here.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I wouldn't mind if we could get schools together to kind of run a bus to go up there for the evening, and just have multiple schools attend. We can all pitch in. There's so many things that we can do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Last but not least is, how are you doing with Sigma Pi Sigma? So the 4 pillars are honor, encouragement, service, and fellowship. What is your chapter doing specifically for those pillars to support that message? This includes things like study sessions. This makes sure that we're holding our scholarly duties up. And tutoring students is more of our service, right? Going and giving back to high schoolers, middle schoolers, etc. Group projects. This is across maybe multiple schools, maybe across your school and another organization within your school. Really anything to contribute more to the fellowship side, and then field trips as well, as mentioned. A lot of it cycles around the same overall message of how can we get out there and how can we do things. So
And one thing I just want to mention too is that this sounds like an awful lot of things. So first of all, you don't necessarily have to have something in every category. Okay.
well, there's repeats. It repeats as multiple times, field trips, right? Also, like, write a paragraph and take a picture of the students in the corner of the room. Remember, like, this is not where we're judging it based off of how significant your event was. More so, did you have one? Did you try? So do think about it like that as well.
Yeah,
We want to encourage everything.
There are chapters that do have things in every category. They've been doing so for a long time, and they're regularly outstanding chapters. But it's not necessary to have everything in every chapter to still get an award. The other thing too is that I just want to point out is that you don't necessarily have to, your chapter does not have to organize everything that's in the chapter report, right? So for example, I often read chapter reports where the university will be organizing some sort of recruiting event, right? And then the club helps to participate. That still counts, right? That's an outreach event. That's, can be considered service to the university. And so that's something you did put in the report, right? By all means, right? So don't feel like you only can include things that you organize or something like that. Anything that your club members participate in or that your club is involved with is fine. Put it in there, right?
In the past, when I was my master's or bachelor's, master's of geology stuff, we would actually get together with SPS, our geology club, or now it's the environmental science club. We would get together, or geoscience, together with SPS and do group things.
Sure.
Because so much of it's cross both.
It does. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because getting back to some of the things we talked about earlier, one way is if you can find, we've done some programs like that where you'll have like a joint, we had it was a joint meeting between the amateur radio club and the physics club where we brought in a professor and gave a talk about some of his work, which is, he was a physics professor, but also was in the amateur radio. So it was, that kind of thing is a great way to kind of cross market yourself to other people. Maybe some of the people will stick around and come to the other events as well.
Okay.
Any questions here about chapter reports? Maybe, do you want to pull up the website and just show people how to, just again, remind people how to get to file it, actually?
Oh, boy. Oh,
Go to the SPS National website.
yes.
While you're doing that, let's talk about, combining different groups.
Sure.
We actually had, just about maybe 3-4 years ago, the president, well, actually it was just an officer in our SPS, he was the president. He was in the swim club on campus. the
Nice.
swim dance club.
Yes.
Nice.
And all of a sudden, at our SPS picnic on the north lawn of the physics building, we had the whole swim club out there dancing.
Sweet.
Really. So they loved coming to, our events. So
Sure.
it doesn't have to be even science related.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
sure. There are lots of physics and dance, actually.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, movement, right?
That's right, for sure.
Okay.
You want to
Where do you
share
want
your
me to?
screen.
No, I'm sharing it. Oh, I'm not sharing
I'm still
it. You're
seeing it.
right.
Yeah,
Okay, well, which? Hello. I'm here. I logged in. It's not this. I don't think I'm,
You're in the right place.
you said the national.
Okay, we'll find it.
Okay.
So,
I'm used to accessing it from the email, not the page
Right.
directly.
okay, well, we'll find it, and you should get an email from Brad Conrad if you're on the list here, and he usually has a link to where you submit this stuff.
Oh.
Did you find it?
Yes, I found it. One moment.
Great, super.
Oh,
And in the past, we actually, our geology club, or at the time it was called the geology club, we would invite physics to baseball games.
Nice,
You gotta head down to the baseball game, and you guys wanna go, and,
sure.
the more the merrier.
that's awesome. I love that.
It's good physics baseball too.
Okay,
Okay, yeah, great.
yes. So, what I did to find it was I typed in chapter report in the corner and then I clicked enter and, I'll do it again. And then I click this one, annual chapter reports. And then I'm assuming it's this one. But
So there you go.
Yep.
It's basically a
this is
form,
it.
and you fill out, the first part of it will be filling out your chapter contact information for the officers and advisor and department head usually. And then the second part is uploading the report. And sometimes they usually ask you to upload some photos too, if you have any good photos. because they like to take those photos and sometimes put them into the SBS Observer or other publications. So, again, if you don't have any photos, that's okay, but photos are nice. You can have photos, take photos of your events.
So this is the template here, which I just downloaded. If you, I mean, you should apply for any award that,
You can't see a screen.
oh, shoot, it's not showing the whole screen, it's just doing the thing. Okay. Okay. Apologies. This is a chapter report template. So,
So you can see they have prompts up there, so at the top of it, so each section, you can, if you're not quite sure what to put, you can try to answer the questions or.
and put in anything you think might be relevant. We're really not looking for a certain format. You don't have to do it APA or MLA. It's just a pictures. I love pictures. I love pictures so much. And what did you do? Just tell me. Like, tell me every little thing, every single little thing. I want to hear it. There's no length limit, I don't believe. I mean, 50 pages might be a bit much, but I think we get a good average of 20 pages. Not that that's a goal. Well, some of them are.
Some of them,
Some of
are,
them.
but most of them are a lot.
20,
shorter.
like 20, and you get a lot. But
5-6 pages is fine. So
well, some schools, what they do is they put in all their flyers and everything else
that's
too.
true. Some
So
of
like, I'll just show this one real quick.
especially once you put the photos in, it's
Yeah, so like here, they put in all their flyers and their itineraries and everything else, and it's cool. It's really cool because now I can take this and I can show it to you, be like, hey, do you need a physics Jeopardy flyer? Well, maybe we could look at this, right? Just depends.
And I should mention too, that they have they usually post a few of the outstanding chapter reports on the website. So if you're not sure what one looks like, you can go take a look. You can download it and they have it available. So that's also, I think, a link from the page, chapter report page.